Alright, I think let me preface this by saying I only got 3 hours of sleep last night, and by my own doing, not a big deal. I didn't really have anything I had to live up to today too tough. Made it through the day as it is, and it's early evening, and I'm really running down, a little spaced out just from not sleeping, and that's all. So I just figured just gonna relax here. Yeah, this weather's going away. I'm gonna ride my bike tomorrow to work. Very, very, very soon. Days away. The bike's gonna come inside and get ready to go through a metamorphosis or begin its transition. My motorcycle's transitioning. So I'm gonna sit down here and enjoy this. It's a little bit chilly, but it's not windy. The air's very still. Wind's very still right now, and it's tolerable. So I'm gonna sit here and enjoy this Ghost cigar. These are really awesome. If you haven't ever had them, I really like them. They're Gurkhas, right? Gurkha. That's who makes them. They're really good. What I do, I have, a tool to cut the end off, chop the end off of this in the house. But since I don't have it with me out here, I'm just going to slide this band either off or up. Take it off, if I can get it off. Yeah, no problem. Take it off, and what I do is I'll flip it around, and I'll light the blunt, and I'll light the seals off, boxed off end. I'll get that lit, and then I'll be able to smoke the cigar. Take a few seconds to get this going. Get this going pretty good. It's really nice out here. Back to work tomorrow. Back to the grindstone again. As always. Nothing new. Same old. It's peaceful. Peaceful. I hope the rest of y'all out there got as much peace in your life and harmony, tranquility, man. If you don't have it, if you can get yourself some, get yourself some, because it's well worth it. I'll tell you that. It's well worth it. If I were further from this road, this house is down close to the road. Utilities are close to the road typically. Closer to the road. It's more money to build further away from the road and then have to have the utilities run out. But we're looking for something bigger. We found some really nice deals, and we're going to be further out there before it's said and done. Anyway, let's get to it. I also want to, good news for any of you who might possibly, I'm sure it's just a few, anybody who might possibly stop by here hoping to see a motorcycle oriented video. I'm gonna put these videos in a better order. I'm gonna sort through them, and I'm gonna put them in better categories, so there'll be motorcycles, and there'll be like gorilla with a cause, like GWAC motivation, and there'll be diet, nutrition, training. I'm going to better organize them, and I'm going to do that within this week. And likewise for the majority of our subscribers here that probably don't really want to sit through a motorcycle video. They don't have to. Yeah, my hands are always dirty. Look at them, always tinkering, messing with something. I was sitting back thinking, I've seen some of these other guys on some of these other channels when it comes to the motorcycle world, that topic. I've seen, a wide array of opinions and stories and tales, and I guess that it's different in different parts of the country, much less different parts of the world, I'd have to say, I guess, because a lot of their experiences, as they claim it to be, that this is the real deal in the motorcycle world, haven't particularly been my experience. Maybe it's because I'm dated. Maybe that's the way it is now. I don't know. One guy, there's one fellow in here, he's prior law enforcement. He's an undercover. He was an undercover officer that infiltrated motorcycle clubs. Which, like, I have a lot of friends that are law enforcement, a lot of friends military, etc., etc. A lot of friends law enforcement, a lot of law enforcement guys here. And I'm a veteran. I'm a former security specialist. So I have no problems with law enforcement. Not at all. I mean, hell, it could have been I was just a hairbreadth away from going that route myself after I got out of service. But I think it's a whole different ballgame when you're talking about a guy that comes in and pretends to be your brother and does whatever it is I guess he needs to do to be able to earn your trust, or for him to get into your circle, into the club, into a club. And he's there for all the good times. I mean, when the guy relives some of the stories, he talks about clearly, that he's had a good time with a lot of the bike world, the biker world, and he knew brotherhood, and so he's there for all the good stuff, right there by your side. He's your brother, man. He's right there by your side for all the good stuff. But then, when somebody crosses a toe on the other side of the line, then he's all about the badge. So see, that's a whole different breed to me. That's a whole different kind of thing, a whole different type of thing. I'm not sure where you make the distinction, if that was your job or if you took that on. I don't know. Where do you draw the line and say which laws are more important and worth enforcing, or what do you just ignore, turn the other cheek, just let slide? I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at that, but it just seems to rub against the grain a bit for a guy like that to be trying to tell you what it's really like to be in a 1%er club, or to be really deep into the biker lifestyle, I think, because he was never genuine. If he was never genuine, then I'm not sure what he's got to offer, or what he's got to say, or how that relates to you, right? Because you're going to have to hold your mud. You're going to have to pull your own weight. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to have a whole community of at your disposal to put everybody in handcuffs and make sure you get out of there in one piece. I don't know. Anyhow, he said something to the effect, well, it wasn't even to the effect, he pretty much said in a video that most of these guys weren't really about riding their motorcycles. These 1%er guys. They were ones he knew. A particular club that he was, I don't know, he got patched into or whatever, infiltrated, he was a part of, and in the capacity in which he was serving as an officer, an infiltrator. And that these guys really weren't about riding their bikes. In fact, they didn't really like to ride their bikes sometimes. Pretty much, most of the time, if they had another option. That's what he was saying. And that hasn't been my experience. I mean, I don't know when the hell that was, but if you go back, way back, check out some of those biker exploitation films from the 60s and 70s. Some of those are just classics. When you look at some of those, a lot of those guys in those movies were actual patch holders, because that was a fashionable thing at one point in Hollywood, that they would get and hire actual club members to be in these movies. And some of those movies, if you watch them, those guys rode the living hell out of those motorcycles. I mean, they're on rigids, doing crazy shit, sliding them around sideways, just all kinds of shit. I mean, they rode the hell out of those motorcycles. There's nobody can say they didn't. If you watch some of those scenes, they rode the shit out of those motorcycles. Those are guys that rode. They rode the wheels off those things. They were riders, man. And the guys that I've known and ridden with, many of them were serious, hardcore riders. Hard riders, man. I've ridden with guys that, you know, I've even seen, like this other club, kind of seems a lot like the Wild Hogs to me. A club, I think they're a riding club. They were talking about it, they had to learn how to ride in formation and how that was kind of a heavy thing. And, you know, and actually we ride in formation, it's nothing. I mean, actually I can remember a time with a brother of mine, we decided just to run to the ocean, just on a whim, one Saturday morning because it was nice. And of course, that meant having, you know, stopping for refreshments as we went along. And we just, you know, I always had fast bikes. I always turned wrenches. At that time, I had an FXR with, it's only 80-inch with a 5-speed. And it had a 2-stage fogger system on it, and a whole hell of a lot of work put into it. Electric shifter, because it just was cheaper than an air shifter, so you could get wide open, even upshifting, wide open with no clutch, wide open throttle. So it was pretty fast, and he had spent a lot of money. He had money. So he spent a lot of money to have his bike built. So it was an Evolution, mine was a shovel, both 80-inchers. And so it just burned him up that my bike just ran circles around him, which it did. On that trip, we found out every which way. We ran from a dead start, you know. We ran from a roll. We ran from moving on highway speed, you know, and hitting it. And every way you want to slice it, I was just blowing him away. He was like flabbergasted. But that was a riding son of a gun. Good brother, good friend. He was a riding son of a gun, man. I mean, we were so close riding and shooting the shit and kidding around with each other on the way down there that, you know, our bikes would actually touch. I mean, many times, at high speeds, bikes would actually touch. You know, purposely, because they're just like kind of sloppily for guys that are in that much control and that precise, you know, riding side by side, real close, talking to each other, bullshitting, yelling, you know. And he would take some kind of a big risk to go around something, and we're on the interstate, and then I'd have to play catch up. So then I'd have to go around when I could and catch up to him, or he'd come flying up past me and twist my mirror, you know, and then I'd have to straighten my mirror up and fly up past, you know, just bullshit, just playing around, fucking off. But he was a hell of a rider. So I mean, a lot of these guys, they rode. I don't know where anybody's thinking that, or in his experience, these guys didn't like to ride. I mean, we rode the shit out of those motorcycles. We rode those bikes in the ground. We were on those bikes every chance we had to be on them. And I've ridden with a lot of guys like that. I rode with another brother that's, you know, same way. You know, poker run one night. You know what that is, bar to bar, drinking at every bar. And we were going God knows how fast, just side by side, just tearing the hell up. You know. One time, it was in our typical hangout, and there was a girl in there that always, it was probably, or it was around, I'm guessing it was in September. What year would that have been? I don't know, 91 maybe? I don't know. And this girl was always in there, and people left her alone, and she was always sitting by herself, you know, drinking a draft by herself. She didn't get sloppy, she didn't get all drunk. I never saw her interacting with anybody, talking with anybody. I never saw her there with anybody, always by herself. Very attractive girl. That's not supposed to happen. But, you know, so I had seen her in there so many times for such a long period of time. She knew who I was. We had never spoken. So one night, I sat down next to her and struck up a conversation, and she talked to me. So we got to talking, and we were heading down to an MC's clubhouse, not a 1%er club, but an MC. We were heading to their clubhouse because they had the biggest parties. Their parties were just legendary. Their clubhouse was like a nightclub. Their clubhouse was off the hook. It was in an industrial area, way back off of everything, away from everything. It had like a balcony in it and all kind of crazy shit. I mean, it had booths, and it was a nice clubhouse. So we would go down there a lot, and yeah, they were a good bunch of guys. So I said to her, "Hey, you want to take a ride going down to such and such after this? A bunch of us are heading down there, you know, in a little bit. You want to go?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know." But she eventually gave in and said, "Oh, you know what? All right, let's go." So she got on my bike, and me being the guy I was then, and I was riding with a bunch of friends of mine, and a couple of them were in front of me. And we're at a red light, and we're in the city. We're in the city, and we're trying to make a left turn. And there's this concrete barrier, this divider that they put there, you know, right to our left shoulders, to our side. Going up, and there's a red light, and we're sitting there waiting for this light. I got tired of waiting for this light. And the guys in front of me, the two guys in front of me, both good friends of mine, riding a long time. In my opinion, they were going too slow, and I wanted to get the hell there. That's where everything was happening. You know, I wanted to get there. So when I waited, and as soon as that light changed, and I know that sounds ridiculous and stupid, but I hit that divider like a berm because the bottom of it rolled up slowly. I hit that, went up across that berm and went around those two guys on their left and shot down there as fast as I could go. And by the time I got down there, they were nowhere in sight. By the time I got down there, got in there, she got off of that bike. She had nothing to say to me. She gave me the nastiest look in the world, like she could kill me, and walked away, stomped away from me, and I never saw her again. You know, so months and months and months of kind of just earning some level of trust by just being observed, I guess, and her seeing me in there and stuff, and then threw that all out the window as soon as I got her to get on the bike. One ride, never again. And then they come busting in. One buddy come running up to me. He was quite pissed off. "I'm not going to wear your patch, motherfucker. You need to stop acting like that and calm down. You're going to kill yourself here, blah, blah, blah." You know, but it was good times. It's good times, you know. Another time, I had a girl in the back. We were heading down there, same clubhouse, and coming down this highway. I was with a couple brothers, and some other guys that were just friends, right? And the couple of guys that were friends of mine, you know, I assumed they were all legal, but I was not legal. So I don't know how fast we were going. I wasn't at the front of the. It was probably, I think, maybe 3 or 4 of us, bikes, 3 or 4 bikes. I had a girl in the back, and the girl had just started going out with. What the hell that is? And all of a sudden, here's a police car. Lights, you know, lights and noise. Looking in the mirror, I see there's 2 officers sitting in the car. Back there, going to pull us over. I'm like the last guy. So we all pull over, and I was second to last guy. Dude behind me was actually Neil, last guy. So we pull over. We're sitting there, my bike's sitting there idling them. You know, it's just around dusk, but my bike ain't legal, so I'm not trying to cut the night short this early. So we're sitting there, and the officer starts walking up, and they walk up together, and the first one stops at Neil, and the second one walks past Neil, heading up toward me. I'm the next guy. And I guess they were kind of shaking us down or whatever. I don't even know why they stopped us. I knew what the outcome was later, but I told her, she started to get off the bike. I said, don't get off the bike. I said, if you get off the bike, you don't know me, you never saw me before, I just picked you up at a bar, you don't know anything about me. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to take the hell off. I'm not going to sit here. So when he gets a little closer, I'm going to haul ass. And I was on the same bike, that FXR. And he got up a little bit closer, and that was it. I nailed it. Bang! Shot out there like out of a cannon. And I'm looking in the mirror. I'm hitting them gears wide open. Wop, pop, pop. I'm looking in the mirror, and I see him like this. He's looking at the horizon that I'm disappearing over. And I see him turn around and start to walk away. And I just keep going. And I got down to the clubhouse. And I was in there for probably an hour drinking with her. And then here they come. And Neil had to get somebody with a pickup truck come and get his bike. He came back with a whole stack of tickets. They were like, man, you were so lucky you got out of there. They didn't even come after you. And, they wrote us all tickets, but they wrote Neil a whole stack of tickets because his shit was illegal too. I didn't always get away with it. I got caught one time like that, thinking I'm going to outrun, right? There's too many that time, and I got caught. And I thought it was funny. I was having fun. I wasn't really breaking any big law. I'm sure it's breaking the law. Of course you're breaking the law. But I wasn't really about any serious crime. I wasn't doing anything really wrong. I was just doing it for shits and giggles, and that pissed that cop off more than anything. When he, when I finally gave up the chase at that time, I didn't know where I was going really. I went into this court, and I'd already gone up on the sidewalk to go around a car because it blocked the road. I would have hit him. He was trying to kill me. I went up on the sidewalk around him. So me and my buddy ran to the ocean with. This was the outcome of us getting to the ocean. This was later that night. And oh, it was crazy. And when I turned down, I didn't know where the hell I was going. Turned blindly down this road and end up in a court. So what are my options here? I already had to go on the sidewalk, go around this guy. My glasses already blew off, and so looking back, so I figured I'll, this is enough. I had my fun. This is enough. I'll park. Lock the bike up and shit before they get here, because I'm not going to go up and tear people's property up, try to cut through somebody's property or whatever yard. So, I have time to park the bike, lock it up. I can't get out. There's only one way in. Here comes this police car, comes screeching down in there. Roar, stops. Slings open the door, jumps over his door. It was, at the time, he was an older guy. Probably not even as old as I am now, but back then, to me, being in my 20s, he was an older guy. A good bit older, probably a 50-year-old guy, late 40s, something like that, a sergeant. He drops to one knee behind the door. Like the door's going to give him that much protection. Drops behind the door, and he's drawn down on me. And I'm like, okay, it's cool, it's cool. And I got my hands up. He goes, get down on the ground. Get on the fucking ground. I'm like, all right. So I get down on the ground. He goes, spread your arms, spread your legs. All right, take it easy. So he gets up, and he's walking towards me. He's pointing that gun at me. And I'm like, man, he's taking this awful serious. He's taking this pretty personal. So he walks up. He starts kicking at my hands and stuff. He goes, where's your drugs? I don't got any drugs. Where's your money? I mean, where's your gun? I said, I ain't got any gun. Well, what are you running for? I said, for the fuck of it. Then he was really pissed off. Because I guess he figured he had some big time collar or something, I don't know. But he was more mad than anything else, because I was just doing it for shits and giggles. But he got me. He locked me up, impounded my bike, out of town. Went home on a Greyhound, came back down with a pickup and got the bike. That was a drag. Cost me a bunch of money. And my buddy, who got away, he got away just on blind, stupid luck, because he made a sharp right, and I saw his lights and everything went out. And I thought, that was a clever move. So he was in between over by a bunch of parked cars, and they just shot by him, kept chasing me. I'm like, shit. He stopped right there. Well, it turned out, he didn't stop. He stalled out. Something happened to his bike. Lost power. Ignition switch. Something stupid. And later on that night, they still got him. They got him for something he got into up on a boardwalk, an argument or whatever. They still got him. They recognized the bike. Loud paint job, all kind of craziness. They knew it, and they got him. That was crazy. They were nice to me. I mean, it just didn't spur the moment, adrenaline pumping. Figured he had him a big-time criminal, But he didn't. Just Just an asshole. You know, me. Carrying on. But I had a lot of good times on bikes. You know, I just took things too far a lot of times. I had one really, another time when I was really young. I had this rat chopper. It was a Triumph 650. It was a rat. That was my first real motorcycle. It was my first motorcycle. I learned to ride that. I got that bike, and it's what I always wanted, and I saw it in the moonlight. I didn't even see it in the daylight when I bought it. I saw it in the moonlight. I traded a car for it, a hell of a car. I got the worst end of the deal, I think. Most people would say, but as a young kid like me that was hungry, I didn't feel I got the worst end of the deal because I loved that motorcycle. I loved it. I kept it for I don't know how many years. Changed it all up, painted it, made it nice, but I had it for a good while. But when I went and saw that bike in the moonlight, it was this old school chopper with this old 60s style airbrush paint job on it. Maybe I'll put some pictures of it in here. And I don't have any pictures of what it looked like originally. I might have one of it in pieces, taken it apart when I was sanding it down when I first got it, and rode it a while, and I took it apart to paint it and make it my own thing. But I don't know if I'm doing that, but whatever I got of them, I'll put them here. I ended up painting it red eventually. But, you know, when I got that bike, that was my first real motorcycle. And when I got on it, I didn't know anything about anything. But I thought, well, I'll be damned if I'm not going to ride this bike. I'm going to ride this bike. This is my bike. I traded that car for this bike. My car. This is my bike. I'm going to ride it. And I just learned to ride it. Just throw myself to the wolves. Just got on and started riding it. I ended up riding it very well. Love that bike. I still to this day love rigids because I can have a better feel. Without that suspension, everything's stiff and solid. I feel everything that back tires doing or going to do. Much more advanced notice than with anything with suspension on it, in my opinion. So, get back down here to Baltimore. I was in West Virginia then. Get back into Baltimore and move back up there. And I'm out one night on this bike after I painted red and all this other shit. So now it's bright red, like, not attracting enough attention. Long front end and shit, but now it's bright red. There's a kid with long hair riding it. And, yeah, I'm out. It's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. I don't know. All the liquor stores are closed. I'm getting ready to head back to where we're all hanging out. Our little clubhouse, as it were. And I was quite a ways from there. It was on the other side of town. And because liquor stores were closed, and I'm getting ready to call it a night, I stopped in a bar that had carryout. And the carryout was in the bar, and I bought 6 loose Budweisers, which I wouldn't drink for anything today, but drank it then. And, they put it in a bag. So it was cold, came out of the cold box. So it's ice cold, and they throw it in a bag, paper bag. And I got this paper bag sitting between my legs. I had no saddlebags, nothing on this bike, no means to carry anything. So it's on this chopper sitting between my legs, and I'm riding it. So I get to this red light on this hill. Now I got no front brake. Okay, so I got one foot is my back brake. One foot is holding me up. I have one hand is my clutch. My clutch is still up here, but because it's a Triumph and the shifter's on the right, I got an 8-ball shifter. So I still got to hold the brake and use my right hand to at least knock it into gear because I'm sitting there neutral. I would always throw the bike up in the neutral as I drift to anything. And I'm on a hill, no front brake. So, yeah, I can do it. I could do it then, but it was, under pressure, maybe I could choke and drift a little bit or have to rev the bike a little more or whatever, something, right? And it was loud. Cop pulls up behind me on this hill at the same light. So I'm the first vehicle at the light, and there's a cop car behind me, and I don't see anybody else on the road. It's like 1:30 in the morning. And I got this freezing-ass, soggy bag of 6 Budweisers in my lap. Basically, it's very little room. So I'm sitting there, I'm sweating it. Like, oh, man, this light changes, I got to take off. I know this cop's going to stop me. But he didn't seem to be interested. Maybe he was running my tag. I didn't know what he was doing. So I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, the bag starts coming apart, and one of the beers plops down on the ground and rolls right under the cop car behind me on this hill. and I guess keeps rolling because it's a pretty steep hill. So I'm sitting there like, oh shit. Nothing happens. He's still sitting there. Maybe he's running it, hasn't got back yet, or I don't know. Light turns green. I do what I got to do, get the bike off and moving, start taking off as gently as possible. Plop, there goes another one, bounces down on the road and rolls back under the cop car, tumbles back behind the cop car, which is now coming up the hill behind me. So I kept going, I thought, oh, there's no way in hell. He's definitely pulling me over. So I kept on chugging up the road, and he made a right-hand turn. And I was like, thank my lucky stars, and kept going. But I had a lot of fun on a bike, man. A lot of adventure back in the day. I don't even know if these times exist anymore, or even if they should. But there was this girl, Renee, beautiful, beautiful young girl. I was young myself. And she lived above a bar down the street from where we had this big house that we were renting. And I would get on my bike, nice hot summer day, ride down there, rev my motor up. She'd look out the window, see it was me, come running down, have a little sundress on, bare feet, jump on the bike, had no foot pegs for her, put her feet up on the gas tank, legs around my waist, and we'd go right back to the house, right down the street. Yeah, it was, for a young guy, it was a pretty good lifestyle. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. There are lots of stories, tons of stories. Some a lot more complicated than those stories. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Oh, there's one really cool story that I should tell you that I don't have time to tell you right now. I guess this is getting too long now. I might not even post it once I look at it. It's so damn boring. Nobody's interested in it. But me and a friend of mine, we were like 17, right before I went into service. I didn't have a bike, of course, yet. And we went, and God knows why. God knows why. His mom was a single mom, and she let us use her little Winnebago for us to go down to the ocean for a week. For a week. The two of us. God knows why she trusted us with that Winnebago and the shit we got into. We ended up staying at this campground because everything was booked up. We had no reservations. It was kind of, we had planned it, but we were just dumbass kids. We didn't know how much planning it really should have taken. And I mean, the biggest thing we thought we had to have was enough beer. So literally, when we left her house with the Winnebago, we went about 7 miles down the road to this mega liquor store that happened to be there. It was huge. And we went in there and bought like 6 cases of all kinds of exotic beer and shit we liked. And we had that shit stacked up between the 2 front seats in the Winnebago. When we got down there, everything was full up. It was 4th of July weekend, except for a place that was privately owned campgrounds. And it was full of bikers. And I don't think there were any other vehicles in there that had more than 2 wheels except for ours. And we were literally told by this girl who was obviously quite high and intoxicated that waited on us at the little shack after we blew the horn enough times to get somebody to come out. And she told us, we said, well, is there any room back there? And she's like, oh yeah, you guys will be okay. And the transaction took place. It was very inexpensive. We bought the place, I think we paid there for the whole week. And we said, well, where do we, what lot are we in, or where? She said, oh no, there's nothing numbered or nothing. You just go back there, fit in wherever you can fit in. And we're like, sounds pretty wild back there, because it sounded like fireworks going off, screaming, whooping, hollering, music, motorcycles. It sounds pretty wild in there. She said, oh, you'll be all right. Just if you're cool, you can get along with everybody. You should be okay. So we're both like, we went back there. I'll tell you what, that was a hell of an adventure for 2 17-year-old guys. And no wonder I ended up on a motorcycle.